It's not uncommon to want to use tables in our web pages, so let's take a look at how we do that. We have basic tables is the name of our page here, although we only have one table. And you can see that this code here is the code that creates this table over here. Okay, so we have this, how does it work? Well, first of all, we have an open table tag and we have a closed table tag. And that encompasses the entire table. Then we have an open row tag, table row, and this is a closed table row. And so this here is what gives us this row here. And that's the whole row. And you can see that we handle rows sometimes the way we did paragraphs. We have a closing row here, and then we have an opening row tag here, and work our way down. And then each of these little data cells is done with this. Now you notice this is open TH and closed TH. The H means heading, and that causes this text here to be bolded. And down here we have TDs, which stands for data cells, and so the data cells are not. They just have normal text. So this is how we do a very basic table. The border tells us how big the border is around the table. If I were to make this 5 and save and reload, you'll see that we have a bigger border around the table. I'm just going to go back to 1 right now. So there we are, and we save, and we've got our table. Now, that's the basic stuff. Let's see what happens if we mess up. For instance, for right now, let me come and just take this out. All right, so I'm 1 cell short in that row. And what happens when I come over here? Oh, you notice how it's gotten ugly. And it's ugly because it's missing a data cell. So this is just empty. It's not even a cell. It doesn't have anything in it. It's just empty. And it's empty because the 5 is gone. What happens if I put in the 5? And what if I put an extra one in? Now we have this ugliness. This comes out, but there's nothing else here. So we get this kind of ugliness if we don't have the right number of cells. So that's the second thing. The second big thing to understand about tables. I mean, you've seen how to build them. The next one is we have to make sure that we have the right amount of cells in each row, or we're going to get ugly stuff happening in our table. Now, what if we want to combine cells? Well, we do that by using spans. So if I want to span columns, let me come, you see the cell that says heading cell 2? If I come over to here where we have heading cell 2, I can use the attribute call span, and call span, I'm going to say call span 2. And so what that means is that I'm going to have this span 2 columns. So I come here, I save, and I do this, and you notice that this is spanning 2 columns. You also notice that we have some ugly stuff going on over here, and that's because we now have 7 columns instead of 6, but everything else just has 6. So how can I fix that? Well, if I'm spanning it, let's say I want to take out, I'll take out this one, come back there, oh, come back there, and now we have a span, what's called a column span. This spans 2 columns, and that's perfectly all right. And we do that using the call span attribute right here. Now, what if we want to span rows? Well, let's span these two with data cell 7 and data cell 13. So I'm going to go into this here, and I'm going to type row span. So that's pretty easy to remember, row span and column span, if I can just type. And I'm going to span 2 cells here. All right, I will save it and I'll reload. And now we have some ugliness because this bottom row where we have, let's see, so this cell, this row here where we have 13, it pushes out all 6 because we left 6 here, even though this cell is now taking the place of the first item that was here. So if I come in and take out that cell, then we're back to normal. So now we have spanned a row and we spanned, I'm sorry, here we spanned a row and here we spanned a column. What next? Well, what if we do both? You see this little chunk of stuff right in here? Oh, that didn't work very well. You see this little chunk of stuff right in here? Let's try that. I'm going to go to where data cell 10 is, and that's right here. And I'm going to do a row span by 3. So I will row span gets 3, and I'll do a col span, short for column span, gets 2, and save it. And you look at that. So this is now spanning 2 columns and 3 rows. But again, we have some ugliness because we have some extra cells here that we haven't accounted for. So first of all, this data cell 12, let's come over here, and I'm doing a row span of 3. So I'm going to come across, go down 3 cells, and that's going to happen, oh, let's see, here's data cell 15, but then you notice that these are getting poked out. So what I'm going to do is move those out of the way. So I'm going to move away data cell 15. Well, let's see, that one's right here. I'll take data cell 16. So I'll take data cell 16 and data cell 17. And I'll reload. And that fixed part of our problem. That fixed it on this row. We still have a problem underneath with these. So let's look at taking 22 and 23. So I'll take these out so that there's room for that span to come in. Okay, save and reload. And now I only have one more problem, and this is data cell 12. I'm going to take out 11. And so I will come back and take out data cell 11 and reload. And now we have a nice table here. It spans 2 rows or 2 columns here. It spans 2 rows here. And then here it spans 3 rows and 2 columns. So there are some of the basics of doing tables in HTML.